Pakistan, Saudi Arabia and Turkey are moving towards closer defense cooperation under the Makkah Joint Defence Agreement. Some are already describing it as the possible foundation of a Muslim NATO. But a real collective defense alliance needs more than political declarations. It requires shared threats, clearly defined obligations, and the military capacity to act. So can this agreement actually work? The Saudi-led Islamic military counter-terrorism coalition already brings together dozens of Muslim-majority countries. Pakistan also has long-standing bilateral defense ties with Saudi Arabia and Turkey. Earlier today, we asked security analyst Imtiaz Gul what makes this agreement different from the arrangements that already exist. Is it a substantive security alliance or another declaration of cooperation?
Basically, the counter-terrorism force that the Saudi Arabian Mohammed bin Salman had created has turned out to be a sitting duck, hasn't really gone where it was supposed to. From the word go, it was an alliance of Sunni countries, but despite the presence of this coalition of 43 countries, we haven't seen any easing up of terrorism, particularly in Pakistan. So I don't know whether it was actually indeed intended for tangible outcomes. Up to that, I would say, is history. Now the bilateral agreement, the mutual defense agreement, or the tripartite, I would say these are more symbolic statements, declarations of promises, of mutual assurances, than substantive defense arrangements. It could lead to greater cooperation among the member countries, but whether in case of combat, in case of conflict, bilateral conflicts like India, Pakistan, or Israel, Saudi Arabia, or Israel, Türkiye, this tripartite agreement can really work. It's very difficult to say, because given the economic considerations of Saudi Arabia, of Turkey, it's inconceivable that these countries would stake their long-term economic interests in case of a conflict between India and Pakistan, for example, because Saudi Arabia is heavily tilted towards India for investments, for economic cooperation. So is Turkey. Turkey has economic cooperation even with Israel. So in case Israel takes on or launches even a limited war on Turkey, and its prime minister and some of Israeli leaders have always been saying that for us, Turkey will be the next Iran. So they already look at Turkey as a potential adversary. So this adversary being part of a tripartite agreement, of which Saudi Arabia is also, Arabia will side with Turkey and take on Israel. So there are a lot of inherent contradictions in the tripartite agreement, and even the mutual defense agreement between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan couldn't do much except this mediation efforts, because it could not. Pakistan has deployed troops, Pakistan has deployed some armament in Saudi Arabia, but Pakistan didn't go beyond that, and neither will it go beyond that, because we don't have a border with Saudi Arabia. Our economic interests, and more so Pakistan's economic interests, are intertwined with Saudi Arabia. But with Iran, Pakistan has about 950 kilometer long border, and also a big Shia population in Pakistan, the population that looks up to Iran for spiritual guidance. So these are the complications that put limits on how far can Pakistan go as far as the operationalization of the tripartite or the bilateral agreement go.
But NATO was built around a clearly identified threat. Its members also agreed that an attack on one would be treated as an attack on all. The countries in this proposed alliance do not necessarily see Iran, Israel, India, or militant groups in the same way. I asked Imtiaz Saab if a collective defense alliance could work without a common adversary, and would this fact need a joint command permanent forces, and an Article 5 style commitment before it could be compared with NATO?
Well, a real active defense cooperation, collaboration, and a treaty, NATO type organization, you need a lot of regulation, a lot of prerequisites. Those prerequisites are missing. The raison d'etre for NATO was an expansionist, socialist or communist ideology flowing from Moscow. So that was the common enemy, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic and the threat of communism. In this case, in the tripartite agreement, who is the enemy? Is it Iran? Is it Israel? Or both? And in a situation in which India is very close partner both with Turkey and with Saudi Arabia in particular. So where will India stand if it came to a conflict between Saudi Arabia and Israel? So these countries shall have to remove the contradictions and explain a lot. It requires a lot of explanation. We don't know what is there in the treaty. Nobody knows the content other than the press releases that have come out of Riyadh and Istanbul, Ankara and Islamabad. What more does this agreement contain? Nobody knows. However, there are limitations to its operationalization, and it will require a lot of groundwork. First, to clarify as to what it actually means, whether there will be something like Article 5 of NATO, which is basically against one means against all. That is not the likelihood, because it's just about 3 countries, and particularly and all those are involved, have different geographical and geopolitical interests, conflicting interests at times, and that's what makes it just an intent of a declaration, of promises, of mutual assurances. I don't see much beyond this.
Even if those political differences are resolved, the alliance would still depend on what each member can contribute. Pakistan has trained military personnel and an established defense industry, but its capacity to sustain developments far from home is another question. So then what military role can Pakistan realistically play? Training, troop deployments, intelligence, or defense production? And where do its operational limits begin?
Pakistan's military role is more in deployment within Saudi Arabia, but not beyond that. For example, it lacks the wherewithal to get actively involved in case of a conflict between Israel and Saudi Arabia, or Israel, Turkey. Both Turkey and Saudi Arabia have their own modern weapon. Pakistan's manpower, of course, is much more trained, is much bigger in numbers. That can come in handy. But as for the maritime, Navy experts tell us that Pakistan doesn't have much capacity even to guard the maritime routes like Bab al-Mandab or Red Sea and the Strait of Hormuz. Pakistan itself has a big territorial maritime territory to look after because of its closeness to proximity to India. So Pakistan's Navy doesn't come into question. It's also it's short on real modern equipment, whether it's the warships or submarines. I mean, this is a lot of this is all speculation. So we really have to see where can Pakistan contribute. Pakistan contribute in training. Pakistan contribute in physical deployment of troops, but nothing beyond that. Yes, Pakistan would be interested, so would be Turkey, to export some of the hardware that both countries are producing at home. Turkey, of course, produces a lot more. Its weaponry is much more modern because of its membership of NATO. It's self-sufficient in a number of fields, including the defense hardware. Obviously, its interest would also be to export as much as possible, not only to Saudi Arabia, but also to the neighborhood of Saudi Arabia. Beyond that, we really need to first identify who is the enemy, if at all. If we are looking at it, an agreement which should basically be active in case of war, or in case the three countries want to defend a territory or a certain region. So, a number of things have to be clarified. So it's an expression of interest for cooperation at best, and perhaps very limited security cooperation, military hardware cooperation. At the moment, we don't see much beyond this.
A collective defense commitment could also require Pakistan to respond to a conflict that does not directly threaten its own territory. That possibility becomes more complicated when Pakistan's armed forces are already responding to militancy and instability at home. Could this agreement pull Pakistan into conflicts in the Gulf or the wider Middle East? Given Pakistan's domestic security pressures, what limits should Islamabad place on any overseas commitment?
We have to, Pakistani leadership has to be very realistic. At the moment, terrorism or proxy terrorism inside Pakistan is sweeping different areas of Pakistan, from Balochistan to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The Pakistan military is already stretched. So is the Pakistan Navy. So in a situation, for example, the month of July has been the bloodiest in the last 10 years, 1 month. And that shows the challenges that Pakistan faces internally with its armed forces, both military and paramilitary, stretched, busy all the time in intelligence-based operations, in active operations, or in encounters, with terrorists in some parts of Balochistan at the moment. So there are huge responsibilities on the shoulders of the Pakistani armed forces, and it would be advisable, obviously, to focus more on the internal challenges rather than trying to defend another country or douse fires of conflict abroad.
Any new regional alliance would also sit alongside Pakistan's existing strategic relationships with China and the United States. Supporters may see these relationships as compatible, but regional alliances can change as governments, rivalries, and American foreign policy change. Would this agreement complement Pakistan's ties with China and the United States, or could changing regional politics eventually force Islamabad to choose sides?
Well, I don't think this Makkah agreement impinges on Pakistan's relations either with China or with the United States. A lot of people are assuming that this tripartite agreement has come about most probably with the consent and with the blessing of the United States in view of a potential drawdown of the American military presence in the region. So Saudi Arabia is also positioning itself to lessen, and this would mean that lessening the burden of security on the United States and shifting it to the region. So if in that case, Pakistan's military obviously can fill the gap, but not for beyond borders or on the border deployment of either of the countries. I think it will be more like for the internal security and stability of Saudi Arabia. And I don't think Turkey would ever need Pakistani army to defend its interests or stand by it for its conflict with I don't know whom, either with Israel or with any other country. So it's a very small endeavor. If you look at it, if you zoom out and look at the global geopolitics, it's a very small piece in that puzzle. For the Middle East, it could mean some important step forward in the security architecture, but what shape does it actually eventually take? We still don't know, because these countries are geographically far apart, thousands of kilometers. Their economic interests are also diverse. So I don't think that either China or the United States would have any grouse with it, but it's more, I think, in sync with what the United States may be thinking, as long as Donald Trump is the president. We don't know how the Democrats, in case they gain the majority in the Congress, and whether there's a democratic president after Donald Trump, how things will shape up after that. But it's very much likely that things will change once Donald Trump loses majority in the Congress and once a new democratic president replaces him. So things are not going to stay the way they are. But obviously, regional countries, particularly Saudi Arabia, is positioning itself for the future. One thing is very clear, that this agreement cannot, our member countries should not hope to deter Israel or disengage or neutralize the United Arab Emirates or India. All India and the United Arab Emirates are in a strategic bond with Israel, and Israel is so close. There is a across-the-board consensus in the United States on Israel. So all we are left with is Iran. Whether all these countries will take on Iran in case of friction, in case of tension. So it's a big question. This agreement doesn't have a common enemy, and common enemy always acts as a gel, as a bond. In this case, there is no bond.
For now, the Makkah Agreement appears closer to a framework for security cooperation than a fully developed military alliance. Its members remain divided by geography, economic interests, and their relationships with Iran, India, Israel, and the United States. Whether this develops into a new regional security architecture will depend on questions the agreement has yet to answer: who it is meant to deter, what its members are obliged to do, and how far Pakistan is prepared to go.